In this video, we're going to talk about how to combine column. In this video, we're going to talk about how to combine data sets together. And so the specific way we're going to talk about is when you have two data sets that's basically the exact same data, it's just additional rows. How do we bind those rows together? So for example, I'm going to look at a data set called MPG, and I'm going to go ahead and get the number of rows of MPG. So there's 234 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and set my df1 is going to be equal to MPG, and then I'm going to go ahead and take rows 1 through 100 and do a comma there. And so what that gives me is that rows 1 through 100. And then I'm going to do df2 is going to be, I'm just going to do this all in my console so you can follow along if you want to create these as well. df2 is going to be MPG brackets. We're going to do 101 colon to 200, and then you need to have that comma at the end there. If not, you're probably going to get an error. We're going to go ahead and run that. So that's another 100 observations. And then we're going to do df3 is equal to MPG, and then we're just going to do 201 with a colon there and then a comma. So that means 201 till the very end, and run that. Okay, so we can't do just the colon there. We actually need to give it the end row. So we're going to do MPG 201 to 234, comma, bracket, and run that. So now we have three different data frames here that all have the exact same number of columns, the exact same columns. And that is important. You want to make sure that they have the same columns here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to combine them back into the original data set. Now, obviously, this is a little kind of being special here because we separated out data sets. But this is actually a function I use a lot in my current job because a lot of the data that we pull from things, we can only pull in segmented data. We can't pull all that data out at once. So I have to pull out several different files, and then I basically just combine them together in R to work with a single data set. So we're going to run df. And then the nice function that R gives us is called rbind. And so this is going to bind rows together. It's going to basically add on rows to, it's basically just going to add on the rows to create a combined data set. So what we're going to do is we just need to put in the data sets that we want to bind together. So df1, df2, and df3. You don't have to do this just like two at a time. You can just combine a bunch together. I've done 20 or 30 sometimes because that's the number of files I have. So when I run this, I get this new df here. It has 234 observations with 11 variables. Now the important thing is if I took, let's just do df1, and I'm just going to do S for select. We're going to do df1 with the pipe operator, and we're just going to select, let's pull out a couple rows here. So let's just select the manufacturer and the model here. Manufacturer and model. Let's run that. Now, if we try to do df select is equal to rbind df1s, df2, and df3. And if we run that, you can see we get an error here. It says the number of columns in the arguments don't match. And that's the issue you're going to run into. You do want to make sure that the names and the numbers of these columns actually matched and they're in the correct order. And so you really want to be pulling this data from the exact same data frame and then adding it together, or at least making sure that all of your columns are going to be the same to be able to run this rbind function.